Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now I do all things crafty, but on today's video I'm going to try to sublimate this letter P onto this holographic spiral notebook that I got at the Dollar Tree store. Now when I got my first sublimation printer and I was looking to sublimate on anything and everything, I tried this. I had a blue holographic notebook. And I can't even remember what I sublimated onto it. I remember it was black ink on a blue notebook, and while from far away it looked fine, if you saw it close up, there were little cracks everywhere in this top coat of the notebook. Whatever this holographic vinyl is made out of, when I heat pressed it, it dried, it shrunk, and that caused little fractures everywhere. It kind of looked like I had that crackle paint on top of it. So I got angry, I ripped off the cover, I threw it away, and I didn't think I'd ever try it again. Well, I had bought a second one. I need to send some things out to my great nieces and nephews, so I thought, why not try it again? Just turn down the heat, lessen the pressure, and decrease the amount of time. This is sitting around anyway, I might as well try it out. So I just printed out a huge letter P for Piper, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tear around this. I don't recall whether the paper left an imprint or an impression on the notebook, but for two reasons I want to rip around this. Sometimes there's little pieces of ink outside of the design that you don't even notice, and that can cause problems once you press it on, because once you press it on and it gets vibrant, well then it shows up. So that's the first reason I would rip around this. And then the second reason is, when you rip around this, the paper has thin layers. And so when you rip around it, I don't know if you can tell, but I have a really thin piece here, and then it gets a little bit thicker until it's full. And so that causes less of an obvious impression when you press things on shirts, towels, pillowcases. Again, I don't know if it would leave an impression in this, but I might as well do that to save my project from getting excess ink and decrease the chances of an impression being left. Alright, so I want to make sure this is fairly straight. I can barely see the P through it, so I can tell that it is straight enough. And then I'm just going to use a couple of really tiny pieces of heat tape on this. Alright, I said really tiny. And then I cut off a really large one. All right. Now I barely want any of the tape to touch my notebook because I don't know if it's going to pull off that coating. So we're going to minimize the possibility of that happening. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I barely have one little corner of this tape that sticks onto the notebook, just enough to keep this in place. All right, so I'm going to try to press this at 380 for 40 seconds. Then before I take it off, I'll just lift it up and peek and see if it looks good. Okay, so before I turn this on, I put my notebook under it and I made sure that I had fairly light pressure. I'm going to have it hang off the edge of the heat press pad because these spirals are thicker than the notebook, and that would cause it not to have enough pressure, or it would bend the spirals. Then I'm going to go ahead and cover the back of that. Again, I'm doing 380. And I think I'm going to start with 40 seconds. All right, let's see what happens. Now when I first started sublimating, I was using 400 for 60 seconds. So hopefully this will make a big difference. So the first thing I want to do is just look and see if I see any cracks. And on that, I really don't. Maybe some teeny tiny wrinkles, but really I don't see it cracking the way it did the first time I pressed. So let me check the color, see if it came out. Okay, so the color where there was enough pressure came out. So I'm going to have to turn this and try to get more pressure right here because it really didn't turn out. So I hate to do this for 40 more seconds, but that's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm disappointed that I didn't do a very good job on where I placed that because the part of the pea that I saw that had color really was pretty. And now I'm adding more heat for quite a bit more time, and I just fear that's going to make it crack. Again, we'll see. All right, let me look at the side that already looked pretty good. All right, so that side is gorgeous. Now, do I see cracks now? And I do see really small cracks. Now they're going to show less on this color than they did the blue, because when the blue split, you could see the kind of neutral color behind it. And on these, I can see little bitty cracks there, but they don't really show up on this color. All right, that looks good too. Let's take this to the table and we'll check it out together. All right, it's still pretty warm, so I'm going to go ahead and have my Cricut pad under it so it doesn't warp my cutting mat. And let's check this out. All right, that is very pretty. Unfortunately, I still have a little bit right here that didn't take too well. And then I can see little cracks where it's purple now. So where the holographic split, you can see through it to the base of this. Let me turn that light off, see if that helps. Okay, hopefully that'll be a little bit better. You're going to look right here. Do you see those little bitty cracks? They really show up pretty well. Now here's what's interesting. I don't see any cracks over here. So honestly, I don't know if that's a temperature, a pressure. I don't know exactly what's causing that. But what I do know is I'm going to go ahead and finish this off, and it's a little bit light there. So let me get my little Cricut Easy Press Mini, and I'll see if I can't fix that. Okay, so here's my final thoughts. Does it work? Yes, it does. And on this side, it looks perfect. There's no cracking. That looks really beautiful. Unfortunately, right here, there's cracking. So if you know how to do this, where it comes out right each time, you don't have these little mini cracks that you can really see through this ink, let me know what settings you use. So thanks so much for joining me for this super quick video, and until my next one, bye-bye.